Yes, people, what's going on? What's going on? We're back, man. We're back. Listen, sorry for the lateness, people. It was a bit of a heavy one yesterday, man. I actually fell back asleep. Not gonna lie. So yeah, thanks for Dan and Jem's time today. How's it going, boys? How you lot feeling today, man?
All good in the hood. Not as heavy-headed as you, that's for sure.
It was a heavy one, man. My boy's birthday, brother. Listen, well, I was just telling these lot, I was getting waved. We were doing other things. It's a bit mad, but how you feeling, Dan? What are you saying, man?
Yeah, all good, bro. All good. Definitely not heavy-headed either. So, yeah, good, mate.
But listen, we've already got some people in the chat. Big up, man, like Ryan as always. Big up, Greasy. Like the video, people will be this for the last show of the season. No, this definitely won't be the last. Oh yeah, this will be the last show of the season. Yeah, because we're gonna review the Bournemouth game. We've got a few things to speak about. Obviously, at the minute, a big question that people are asking is if Poch deserves to stay. Listen, Jem, Dan, listen, we've had a lot of things to say about Poch this season. But I actually haven't spoken to these guys like on camera about how they're feeling at the minute. Obviously, everyone's been busy and stuff. So I thought, yeah, let me get these guys on because we share similar sort of thoughts and see how they're feeling at the minute, man. But yeah, let's see who else is in the chat right now. I've got Shivendra. Big up, Don. Hopefully we get Europa League in 6th or maybe even 5th. You know what I'm saying? Big yourself up, my bro. Yeah, hopefully, you know, I don't see Tottenham losing to Sheffield, in all honesty, but we'll see what happens in it. We've got Nawaf in the house. Big up, bro. Got Hashim in the house. Big up as well, my bro. You got Yosef there as well. Big up. So listen, people, make sure that you're smashed up the likes. Subscribe to the channel. Like I said, roll to 2K. We just got to 1K, so love for the support, people. But yeah, this will be a good show, man. But listen, let's get straight into it, man. Let me come straight to you, Jem. How are you feeling at the minute about the situation right now, bro? Do you feel like Chelsea have actually turned the corner at the minute? How are you feeling, bro?
I feel that it's very still early doors. I feel that he's now done the things that we've been asking him to do for a long part of the season, shall we say? You know, in games that he could have been a bit more tactically flexible. Poor decision makings in substitutions, poor tactical decisions, poor setups. All these kind of things that we've seen from Pochettino earlier on has kind of, you could say, been shifted. And you see a lot of like the Pochinners like jumping on the bandwagon and saying, "See, we told you time," etc. Like, you know, some people that we know and stuff, but all he's done is just proved us right, because everything that we've been asking him to do, he's just gone and done. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, being consistent with a system was one of the things that we were arguing about, because he wasn't sticking to the same system. He kept chopping and changing so much. Stop playing personnels out of position as well was another one, which he continued to do. And playing the three in midfield, which in many games we didn't need to have the three in the midfield. You know, playing Gallagher off the left against Sheffield United and Cucurella in the right back position against Man United, when he's just another thing that, you know, other things that just don't make sense. And then, like, you know, you go to the Man City away game where we was like obviously like 1-0 up all the way up to like the 70th minute, and he decides to make an early substitution and goes too defensive early and things like that. So yes, he can make mistakes. There's no issues with managers coming in and making mistakes and having teething problems, especially with a young squad. I get all that, but it's how they move forward and if they learn from it. And I just felt there was a lot of like naivety from Pochettino for a long periods of this season to like not notice or rectify some of the things that we've been seeing. But the one thing you can say about now is that he's being more consistent. He's actually being more active when it comes to substitutions at the right times as well in games when we need to make substitutions as well. And he's sticking to sort of a plan and a strategy which these players are now, you know, are more comfortable in as well. So, you know, so far so good. But I wouldn't say like, you know, I think he will be safe because I think we will get Europa League. But, you know, next season, the pressure for me is just going to turn up another tenfold, because he can't start the way he did the first 10 games. He's going to have to start the way we finished last season, you know?
100%. 100%. And listen, the last few games has clearly proven that this team has the quality to potentially reach top 4. You know, if we had more games, bro, we would have been up there. If we beat Sheffield, if we beat Burnley, like you're saying, right now, we would have been right next to Aston Villa. Do you know what I'm saying? And at the start of the season, when I predicted us to finish 4th, people were trying to call me deluded. And I was saying, bro, I don't know where you lot are overrating top 4. Like top 4, to get top 4, 1 game a week with the squad that we've got, right? I didn't expect to have this many injuries. With Pochettino, 15 years experience, wasn't a wild thing to say. The only thing that I was skeptical about was our finishing in front of goal. I thought naturally over the season, that should improve. That should, you know, help us win more points. But I thought this guy was going to stick to the same plan that he went with in the summer, where he was inverting Cucurella, and we're seeing Chelsea playing well. It wasn't just Chelsea fans that were saying that we're playing well; it was rivals as well. You know what I'm saying? They were saying Chelsea are looking scary at the minute. But Dan, before I bring you in, bro, I wanted to read this quote here from Poch. He says here he believes he and his staff have put Chelsea's house on a stable footing. The important thing is we have started building the structure. We are wanting to build our house step by step and be very solid in our steps. If we're happy to live like this, we'll be strong for the next few years. It will allow us to fight for things. But how I'm kind of looking at that, bro, for me, it's kind of a cheeky thing to say. Like, I'm looking at it and thinking, yo, you could have done this about 8 months ago, bro. Like, this wasn't rocket science that you're doing at the minute. So, in your opinion, Dan, why do you think he went away from his principles, bro? Why do you think he changed what was working?
I think he doubted himself. I think all the signs for him to sort of step away from that was him questioning his ability, which I think shows he's not a top coach. We've had so many discussions done throughout the season, and Jem, we spoke a little bit in pre-season about Poch as well. We've all kind of predicted what would happen, and it pretty much carried on. It's only now when his hand's been forced because of injuries, he's actually found the way to win with this team. I don't think we've been that good in some games. I thought Forest for 60, 65 minutes, we were woeful, to be honest with you. We scored a good goal, but we weren't really in that game. We gave the ball away an awful lot. His inverted Cucurella role got found out in that game, and he had to revert him back out for like the last sort of 20 minutes. And thanks to Reece James, he had a chance in that game, obviously, to go and win it, which is crazy if he's claiming that that's a good performance from him as a manager and his coaching staff. I think Brighton was a little bit better against a good De Zerbi side, but I think Poch doubted himself. And the one thing I'll say about all top managers is they never do that. And if they have principles, they stick to them. And if they go against them, normally they find out straight away and they go, I never should change. I don't know if you remember when Conte came in, I think he did like 3 games, played 4 at the back. We got hammered by Arsenal and he was like, you know what, I'm going back to 3 at the back. That's what I know. That's how I coach. And we won the league. Poch took 30 games, boys. 30 games. All right, he had injuries. And it's only just now is he scraping us to where we feel like this is acceptable. I think Europe and above is acceptable for me. We should have been aiming higher. And you know what, Don? We've spoken to a lot of people that are poaching, whatever. And and this is where we've been proved right. They all kept saying, no, the players are awful. The playing staff aren't good enough, whatever, right? That's what they kept telling us. Trust the manager, the players aren't good enough. Now listen to them. They're all like, oh, Poch in. But we've been saying the players are good enough to achieve better than this. The only person at fault for me for the majority of this season being an absolute roller coaster is Pochettino. And you know what? We sat there, Don. We watched that Brentford game. It's games like that the reason we're not above Aston Villa. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Simple as
bro,
that.
Don't even remind me about that game. Starting 2 attackers, bro.
Exactly.
Starting 2 attackers. Like I said, Thomas Frank came out saying these guys have not changed their formation for 23 games. Why have they changed it for us? Are they scared? And that quote, when I read that quote, I was like, bro, even these professionals that are working with him, his fellow colleagues, because all these managers all talk to each other. They all have this manager committee and whatnot. He's looking at it and he was confused as well. I called Alex, big up Alex, Chelsea Fan TV before the game. When I saw the lineup, I was Jem in the group chat, bro. I was cussing. I was shouting. I couldn't believe it that we're going to a team that have lost 10 out of their 12 games, right? And we've decided to be negative and only start 2 attackers. You know, start of the season, Forest, remember, we started 2 attackers. There's so many games where we're starting 2 attackers. And I'm looking at it and thinking, bro, where do you feel you're going to score? That means you're literally, you know, expecting a young team to score from 1 or 2 chances. And we know Jackson's not that good in front of goal. You know what I'm saying? And don't forget, before Cole Palmer came into the team, the chance creation, I was speaking about this at the start of the season. The way we were creating chances weren't good. It wasn't good. We weren't creating clear-cut chances. There wasn't really a time at the start of the season where I was looking at Jackson and he had a one-on-one on goal. It's only when Cole Palmer came into the team where our chances improved. Because I kept being told by rivals, you don't just keep missing chances. And I'm like, bro, go watch the type of chances that we're getting at the minute. They're very, very scruffy. Because the way that we're being set up isn't good. It's not fluid football. You know, if you set the team up well, you'll create better chances. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, bro. It's mad that he's only changed it now, and it's a bit weird, Jem, innit? Don't you think that now that he's actually under pressure? You know, he said yesterday. I saw a quote along the lines of, you know, he wasn't too sure about his job after the Wolves loss when we lost that game. That's when I was actually strike free. For me, when we lost to Wolves, that's when I said strike free, Poch out. because I kept saying, yeah, I'm going to give this guy 3 strikes because of the amount of injuries that we've got. But against Wolves at home, he started in Nkunku. He started Caicedo. He started Enzo. He started Palmer. There was no excuses whatsoever because he started the team that he kept begging for. And we still lost that game 4-2. Cunha scoring a hat-trick against us, bro. But when you watch this guy, he can barely hit a barn door. Do you know what I'm saying? It was mad. So, bro, it's just a bit mad, Jim, innit? Don't you think, bro? Like, now that he's under pressure,
DNA,
he's trying to fucking change things.
It's just in the Chelsea DNA that we go against teams that are not, got average players, but then we make some of their individuals look elite. And it's just like, you can't ignore the setup of how he's like orchestrated us throughout the most of this season. And then people that choose to ignore it and just say, well, it's actually because the players are inconsistent and, he needs time and they need time. Yeah, fine. I agree with the players being like young and inconsistent and stuff. That all plays a fair part of it. But when your manager's asking them to play X amount of different systems in a short space of time each and every game, they're not going to be able to build up any sort of relationship or chemistries because
they're young as well. Don't forget.
They're young and he's not confident, obviously, in himself in what he's seen in the systems that he's deploying. But then what he's then doing is just confusing the players, because how many games have we played? How many big games? I'm talking about the top 6 element, like the Liverpool ways, the Man United ways, all these type of games where we've gone into them, and the Arsenals, for example, as well, away. We've gone into them games and we just look lost, mate. Like we look completely lost. Like you know what the bad thing is? Like you can see sometimes that these players are trying on the pitch, but they just the instruction. And I always say that the execution is important, but they can't execute if the instruction's dead.
Flawed.
It's flawed. And you're just leaving them out there. And what annoys me more with him is when we're getting eaten up, like we've seen in them games, which really annoys me with him. He just sits there like this. He's just no like, I've got to do something. I've got to help them. They need me. Like, I need to take control of this. I've made a mistake. Let me try and do something here. And like, just leaves them out there to get eaten. And that really irritates me for supposedly an experienced manager, because he's meant to be an experienced manager. Remember, this guy is not a Potter that we, from last season. This guy's an experienced guy that's been to Southampton, Spurs, PSG. Like he knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. But
over 15 years experience.
I'm like, what? Yeah, like where, I look at him sometimes. I'm like, what are your tactics, bro? You're meant to be experienced. Like, what are you doing? Like, shut up.
The funny part is, Jeff, anytime you turn on the TV, you'd see Poch, when he was out of a job, you'd see this guy talking punditry and whatnot. I'm thinking, okay, this guy's obviously trying to learn now. He's maybe doing a little bit of evolving. Managers like to evolve, innit? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But he's come back in here and he used the same tactics he was using 10 years ago, where it was all about counter pressing. And Dan, I've said to everyone, bro, in this day and age, everyone presses, bro. Everyone presses. Even Burnley try and press. You know what I mean? Everyone's brave these days. And all the top 4 teams, they all press. That's the bare minimum. You need tactics and you need coaching. But Dan, what do you think? What have you liked about what Poch has been doing tactically at the minute? Because for me, one problem that I've had with this guy is the lack of bravery, and the lack of flexibility, and also how reactionary he's been in games, because there's so many times where I'm looking at him thinking, remember when we were sitting together at Brentford away, bro? I'm looking at him thinking, bro, bring on more attackers. He waited for them to score first, then he brought on Sterling, then he brought on Mudryk. And surprise, surprise, we look a lot better, and then we score, but it's a little too late. He's left it a little too late. But then the other day against Forest, he made changes within the 53rd minute. I'm seeing Gusto and that. Gusto and that coming on. He brought on Sterling. He brought on Nkunku. Obviously, it helps that he's got a stronger bench at the minute. But what is it that you're liking about what Poch is doing at the minute?
Getting results. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think we asked for evidence, didn't we? I think we said a few months ago that if we got European football, but we got there in a fashion that was really sort of jammy and undeserved, we wouldn't be that confident about him going forward next year. I think he has turned a bit of a corner. I don't think he's fully turned things around completely, but he was obviously brave enough to decide that his pre-season ideas were better than what he'd shown for the first 30 games of the season. He's been a little bit more experimental in his build-up play, I'd say. I think yesterday against Brighton, we saw that we're building up in like a 3, and then there's a 3 in front of them. And then obviously there's a 4 attacking, and you can see that there's a few changes there. And I think ultimately it's just taken too long to get to that. But if he's found it now, and that's how long it's taken, then that's how long it's taken. And if we start to reap the rewards now, then look, it took him a little bit longer than I'd like, but ultimately we're starting to see the results that we want to see, aren't we? If we look at the last 14 games, probably it looks a little bit better, even though there's some really sloppy draws in there that I'm not happy with, and an embarrassing performance against Arsenal. I think that kind of, a hammering like that kind of allows you to hammer the players and sort of say, look, if you're not up for it, you're going to be sold in the summer because I'm going to be here. But ultimately, we don't know if he's going to be as well. But yeah, look, it's for me, I've tried to be patient with him. I think my patience was really close to running out, and he just about started getting results in time because.
You weren't Poch out already? I swear you already Poch out.
No, I was, mate. I was, but I just absolutely was giving up with him. I wasn't seeing any. I couldn't believe what we've been talking about for months. This guy's getting paid more than any of us combined. Do you know what I mean? And he can't see the issues that we're literally sat there pointing out. He watches hours and hours of Chelsea back every week. He's literally on the training pitch with these guys. He's got coaching staff. And then when he's asked questions, in press conferences as well, he can't even explain the tactics he's put into place even to a small extent. I don't know if you've seen it, but a girl asked him the other day about the Cucurella role, and he really didn't have much to say on it. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, where's these instructions coming from? Is it you, Poch, or is it your coaching staff? Because if we sat all of you down, who's going to start explaining stuff to us? And I'll be honest, I'm doubting him a little bit still in that department because, like you said, we ain't seen a change from 11 years ago in Pochettino's system. Think how many times Pep Guardiola's adapted his Man City side in that time.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, SP says here, big up yourself, bro. First of all, we've got 44 people in the house. Make sure that you smash up the likes, people. Make sure that you're subscribing to Dan and Jem as well. I put the link in the description. Sorry for their channels. But SP says realistically, if we were to get rid of Poch, who's really out there to get the market? The market is stinky. Going to you, Jem. First of all, are you happy with Poch staying in the job at the minute? And who would you realistically replace him with if it was? I
think that's the issue for me. I think with me already. I'm not very confident in the market availability at the moment for managers. That's my problem. I'm not fully confident in him, but then I look at the market and I'm like, who do we go for? I mean, I know what I kind of want. I want kind of an experienced coach, one that's won things, to come in and be able to just give us a bit of stability, and like someone that just can just get them, stick into a system and rolling through like that. But then I'm looking at what the availability is like, and and then at the same time I'm thinking to myself, well, I always banged on at the beginning of the season that we need to, not only with the board, but we also need to give whoever comes in time. Like they do need to have time. You can't just keep getting rid of managers every season because we're not happy with what we're seeing. But he really pushed my blimmin', like this season, he really pushed. You're in the groups with me. He's really pushing my buttons hard. And when it got to December,
you never wanted him in the first place either.
I didn't want him in the first place. So I was trying to give him a chance to show me, and this, that, and the other. And like there was just a couple of games, like the Everton game away, pushed my buttons hard when we lost. That really grinded me. And that was December the 10th at that point. So this was before all the Pochinas were going on about how we would have been fourth from December 18th to now if we would have just, whatever won. Like this bollocks that we're hearing basically from them, to be quite honest. Yeah. I'm willing to go in. I'm willing to go into next season with him because I think he's ended the season strong. And if we get Europa League, I've always wanted Europa League position. So in a way, I think not only are we going to tick my box, but I also think he's going to tick the boxes of the owners as well. So I think they won't start looking at managers if he does that. He will go into next season. But the second season, I keep saying it, the pressure, the whole increase of pressure has gone from that to that for me next season because he can't start, even if he has injuries, by the way. Let's just say this now. Even if he has Reece James out and then Kunku's injured for 2 weeks again and this, that, and the other, all that happens again. He can't go starting the way he started the first 10 games of this season next because I guarantee you they will sack him mid-term. They will. I don't put little muck around.
Don't even let him stay till Christmas. People like to say, "Oh, just give him till Christmas." No, because that's when we're gonna have to start doing a lot of catching up. You know what I mean? Obviously, listen, in the transfer window, there should be some new players coming in and ready for the season. But there's times, you guys know, we signed Cole Palmer on the last day of the window. We might sign our marquee on the last day of the window. But Dan, how are you feeling at the minute? Do you think that he should be given a little bit more time? How are you feeling? You happy for him to stay?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm happy for him to stay, but I agree with Jem. I look at the market of managers with this profile of squad, and so, I don't understand what the board are trying to do with this playing squad. To be honest with you, I think there's a bit of a mess here, and I think that makes it difficult for Pochettino. And I think to just mess things up again, sack someone, throw the club into a lack of stability again isn't the right move. I think not signing anyone in January has actually proved to be beneficial. If you look at the difference in the squad from then to now, we let a couple of players go, but I think Poch has been able to manage it a bit better. Look, if we go into next season and the first 10 games carry on how the last sort of 10 games have gone, I could probably deal with that, because I think then I'd be admitting that I'm seeing progress. And I've seen progress the last couple of weeks or months, to be honest with you. I'd say probably since late March, started to really see us. I think that Everton game, you know, when we beat them 6-0 and it was like the best we'd looked in a while. I feel like I've seen progress since then. So I can get behind him, and I've been asking for evidence for ages. And that's the evidence that he's probably given us to suggest that he deserves a shot. Look, the managerial caliber is out there. Is it the right move for Chelsea? I think that's the issue we've all got, isn't it? You can look at your Amorim, you can look at Allegri getting sacked from Juventus, you can look at Hansi Flick, you could look at maybe talking to Tuchel again. Mourinho's out there. Is that the right thing for Chelsea now, though? I'm not sure. You know, a couple of weeks before the League Cup final, I was thinking, I'd just take Jose. Why not? Win us a trophy. But now I'm looking at it thinking maybe we give Poch the first sort of 10 games of the season and see where we're at. Like, see what happens in the summer. Obviously, a few more players are going to leave. A few more players are going to come in. Can he gel it together again? Because I think that's what he's really struggled with, is gelling this team together. I think it's taken him too long, because I keep looking at Glasner at Palace and I'm thinking, this guy come in and in like 4 games has like revolutionized them. So,
bro, never let anyone tell you it should take a season. Exactly.
Mate, that's what I'm saying. It don't take a season. That's why I lost patience with Pochettino so quickly, because I know how fast you can rectify some of the mistakes. If it's players that aren't good enough and they're making individual errors consistently, they're not good enough, and you have to outlay millions of pounds to replace them, right? But when it's a manager and his tactics and his simply misprofiling players, like we saw over and over again at the beginning of the season, or going back on tactics that he's seen work and then changing his mind and meddling and the substitutions. And you know what else has changed a little bit that I'll touch on is half times. I think we were so poor after half time consistently for a long time. That has changed, and I'll give him credit for that. Whatever he started saying at half time has worked. Maybe he got out a translator and was able to speak to the players in English or something. I don't know. Apparently his wife said to him, I can't understand what you're trying to say on your press conferences all the time. So who knows, mate? Who knows how clear
he's been more active then. I think he's just been more active now. It's like what I've seen from before. He's just like,
not to be, isn't it? But
that's the thing, though. He can like even himself. The way this it's the same logic. The way the players are feeling comfortable at the minute on the pitch because he's playing them. He's playing them in their correct positions. He's using a system that's helping them. Is the same way he's now looking comfortable and stuff. You know, like the other day, I think her name's Saraya, the journalist that you mentioned. She went in there and before she even asked him about tactics, he's all begging her to ask him for tactics. Like, go and ask me then. He's all excited to talk about it like some little kid. And that's because he knows that what he's doing at the minute is working. You know, he seems like he's got this weight off his shoulders because the team's playing well and we're picking up results. 4 wins in a row, bro. When have we ever seen back? We were struggling to see back-to-back wins. We got 4 in a row. We could
should be 5 as well, because we should have won that Villa game.
Yeah, exactly. Even Villa as well. Like, you know, we had a good second half. The first half was the same old nonsense, keeping the ball, not doing anything. Second half, when he did the Cucurella tweak, they were looking like the away team, you know. But some of the factors here in Poch's favour, ahead of the season review, Ben Jacobs spoke about it. He's got firm support from the dressing room. Listen, in terms of his management, I think we've all kind of spoken about it. Like, his man management has always been good. It's always been strong because he's a Mr. Nice Guy, innit? You know, he puts his arms around players. He loves doing the whole barbecue at Cobham thing. He's all about, you know, putting his arm around players and whatnot. But for me, in this day and age, that's not enough. You need tactics. You need coaching. And like you've said, Glasner's come in straight away. You can see that what he's implementing, what he's drilling is pretty straightforward. You know, and I said to these lot in the group chat as well, Dan, for me, how I kind of look at Poch, how I look at coaching is it's quite similar to school. Remember in school, like, if you're not that good at maths, for example, I used to have a maths teacher. If they explain something to you, one maths teacher might make it sound so complicated where you're like, bloody hell, I can't get my head around how to work this out. But then another maths teacher's got a different method and they come in and they show you something and you're like, yo, how have I been struggling with this for so long? It makes so much sense. And it's the same thing as coaching. Yeah, some managers just simplify things and make things so simple to understand.
I think
That's
also,
why
Don,
players perform. Whereas
on
others,
that,
they overcomplicate things, bro.
I think also on that as well, to add to it, I think one of the big reasons also why I'm a little bit like against sacking him just at this moment is that we always used to bang out in the past, like if the players ain't happy with the manager, get rid of the manager. And we always used to back the players, but the players at the moment seem to be backing the manager. And it's like one of them things where I'm like, well, if they're backing him and they're actually showing the performances that they are showing at the moment, then you can only kind of go on the feeling around the ground, around the training ground and the team at the moment. And I think we have to kind of stick with that with the players. Once the players are like a little bit disjointed and we start getting a feel of that, and obviously we pick it up very quickly as fans anyway, like we have in the past with like Potter and stuff. I think then you see the action, but at the moment they are happy with him, and that's what we're being told. Like they're happy with what's going on. So it's like kind of have to just back that,
That's one of the things here. Multiple board members apparently are behind him. At the minute, it's not just Roman up there that's making that final decision. We know it's like Barley that says, listen, he's going to get sacked or he's going to stay. But ultimately, there's a board at the minute who are apparently there's a few people behind him. Positive feedback from players that you've mentioned, Jem. Good form from Boxing Day. For me, some of those games that we won or drew at, at the start of the year, we might have got that result, but in terms of the performance, it wasn't good. Going back to those games, I can think of so many games where I'm like, I wasn't happy walking away from there. 2 trips to Wembley, both times I was there. Encouraging data, such as
Bro, I ain't counting the semi.
Right.
They can't say that. I'm not counting the semi. I know it's a trip to Wembley, but for me, a trip to Wembley is a final. And Pochettino got it massively wrong in that semi-final against City. They were there for the taking. They were tired. They were exhausted. We'd come off the bat against beating Everton 6-0. We played a style of football that looked like this was convincing. If we go into Wembley playing in this manner, don't change anything, something could happen, yeah? Bro, he changed it all up. And not only did he change it all up, he changed it all up from the style that he even had success against City twice in the season, getting 2 draws. How many teams have done that this season, yeah? Poch got it wrong at the semi-final at Wembley. And people have to remember this. Like you said, some of them games where like we got that draw away at the Etihad, Poch got it wrong. Like Jem said, he went too defensive too early and actually threw a loss away, like a win away, and turned it into a draw. When we walked out of that stadium, it felt like we'd lost that game because we should have won it. We got lucky with Haaland missing a few chances, but we were in the ascendancy and had better chances that game.
I think, for me, listen, the Liverpool one was the bigger howler. The Liverpool loss in the semis, because against Man City, I think it was more the players missing a lot of these chances, to be honest with you. I think the game plan actually worked, to be honest with you, Dan. Like, we were sending City wide. If you remember, Doku was the one that changed the game for them. But we should have won that game, man. Some of the chances that we had, Jackson going around the keeper and then deciding not to finish, there was so many chances I can think of where we should have won that game, But against Liverpool, the guy brought on Mudryk, he brought on Madueke, and he decided to tell these lot to sit back. And that's when I was like, I've got to question your mentality, and that's where I'm still skeptical right now, bro. I'm like, if it's up to me, I'll be real, boys. If it's up to me, I still get rid of Poch, and I bring in a different manager that I think can get more out of these players consistently, because I've got PTSD, because this guy could just decide to just divert and go back to what he was doing. I don't think he will, because surely he can't be that stupid, because now he's found the formula that's actually working. Because start of the season, I was saying, bro, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But now he's changed it. He's seeing that we're playing better and we're getting better results. But in the back of my mind, I'm still like, if we get to a final, is he just going to decide to play Levi Cole at left back? For more height or something. If we get to a final, is he going to play this guy over in this position? Is he going to play Enzo as a 10? I don't know, for more creativity or something. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm like, prove to me, innit? Prove to me. If he stays, I'm not going to start screaming and shouting and saying, get the guy out, because at the end of the day, he has semi-turned it around, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? At the second,
I want to touch on something quickly, Don, because I can see people in the chat saying it, and you mentioned it as well about that Wembley trip against City and the chances that we missed. I've said it so many times this season that Pochettino isn't aware enough of his own players. You can't rely on this team taking 1 chance, 2 chances. They need more chances created for them. And the issue is that Pochettino isn't setting this team up in a way to create an abundance of chances that Jackson might score 1. Do you know what I mean? He's setting them up to have 2 or 3 chances in that game against City, and Jackson misses the one. Look, Jackson should do better. But if you give Jackson the 5 chances and play to his strengths and create more chances than needed, right, then we might actually have a chance. And that's the issue for me with Pochettino is you can argue that with better players, that game plan might have worked.
Yeah.
But for his current squad, that game plan was wrong. Look at Everton. I think we had over 20 chances created. All right, you can't compare Everton to City, right? But why aren't you taking the similar formula into that City game and go, if we can create 10, maybe Jackson scores 1. But if we create 3, he's probably going to miss, because I've watched him all season long. I see him in training every day. This guy is not clinical. So I can't back him like I used to back Harry Kane, like I used to back Mbappe. I need to back him in the way that I support him by allowing my team to play in a style that allows us to create more chances. And look at
create more chances, yeah. You're bang on, bro. There's that as well. That's the thing. Two things can be true at once, because yes, if we do finish our chances in that game, we win the game, right? But like you're saying, we are all aware that Jackson's not good in front of goal. As much as Jackson's improved in the season, and I can clearly see that this can be a good player, like even an even better player. Sorry, if he sorts out his finishing, it's not good. And starting Gallagher left wing did not help the team, bro, because that left hand side was redundant. We kept going to the right, attacking off the right. And you know, it just wasn't. We could have played better as a team if we just played everyone in a normal position. Because people say, "Oh, Gallagher's needed for what you do," but Gallagher wasn't played in the midfield against Man City, and that midfield still managed to do their job. Palmer was good in there. Caicedo and Enzo, for some reason, you know, Enzo Fernandez was being criticized that day, but I was like, bro, off the ball we were really good, and on the ball, you know, he created a really good chance for Jackson as well, and he wasn't really that sloppy, you know. So yeah, I do get what you're saying at the same time, Dan, because he could have done a little bit more.
The first game we played City, we scored 4 goals, mate. Like people were saying in the comments, 10 chances against City. I bet we had 10 chances that day. Do you know what I mean? The football we played in that game against City, where it's 4-4, he completely went away from that for the semi-final. But we put 4 goals past that City team. So people can say what they want, 10 chances against City, blah, blah, blah. We've done that this season with this playing stuff. Pochettino changed his mind, went with something else. Like you said, Conor Gallagher at left wing for me that's one of the worst things I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, facts, 100%, bro, 100%, man. But listen, let's move on to some of these players, man. Because at the minute, you know, there's actually quite a lot of players that are turning up away from Cole Palmer, because that's something that we've been this season. We've been Cole Palmer FC, and Poch spoke about it a few weeks ago that the ball just goes to him, and then we just expect him to do something. You know, for me, this is a player that I was happy with the signing. You know, going back to the summer, Gem, I had a few people in the group chat that were obviously a little bit skeptical, like, you know, you had big up Couch, he wanted Olise. At the time, Olise, I think was he injured at the time, or he got injured shortly after that. I think he got injured shortly after. Yeah, but I was happy with Cole Palmer, because for me, I've watched a lot of Man City like the whole time Pep's been there. I'd watch this guy for England, and honestly, this guy would never look out of place. Every time people say, "Oh, Man City have got a B team and they've got an A team," he was part of that B team that were, you know, winning all these Carabao Cups and going to the FA Cup final and still winning a lot of trophies. Do you know what I'm saying? So at the minute, it's good that we've got you know, more people stepping up at the minute. What have you guys thought of the players, man, in the past few games, and who's actually, you know, impressed you, would you say, Jem?
Obviously, Palmer's one that stood out a lot. There's another one that's actually supposedly going to be sold, which I'm up against, is Chalobah, because I think one of the areas where we've really mucked up in previous summer windows is the defensive area. We wasted too much time in the transfer market trying to sign defenders and spending the money we have on likes of Disasi and Badiashile, who effectively have one of the worst, from what I've seen, worst stats in the French league, playing together for Monaco, by the way, if people didn't know that. And to be quite honest with you watch them against Arsenal when it was them two. They're our worst partnership together.
Bro, I call them the Cramp Twins, bro. I call them the Cramp Twins, but them two, bro. It's like, you know, remember Christensen and Zuma? It's like that, honestly.
Yeah. Chalobah for me is more, he's just shown experience, and that might just be more down to the fact that he's played in the Premier League longer and he's been playing next to the likes of Thiago Silva a lot longer. But incidentally, this guy was pretty much just thrown in from Thomas Tuchel, if you remember. Like, it was a bit out of the blue that he just joined the squad, and you know, he started really well and stuff, and he had his little bozo moments where, you know, effectively he gave penalties away or bad passes and whatever and all that. But I'm just seeing like more of a consistent, mature Chalobah, someone that's just playing and understanding his role better. And I just feel like he's one of the players that I think surprised me with his performance, along with Thiago Silva, who we know is going to be leaving at the end of this. But for me, Chalobah, Gusto, you know how much I love Gusto. I wanted Gusto even before Gusto came to Chelsea. I was very big on Gusto, and even he's shown the lengths of quality this season. He's had moments as well where he's not been up to speed, but I think majority, if you watch him, I think he's been easily one of the top 3 best right backs in the league for me this season. He's been very good.
And Chalobah for me at the minute, Jemmy, you're spot on, bro. And just here, I wanted to share one of these stats here. Chalobah is currently registering the highest tackle success rate than any other Chelsea player in the Premier League this season. And listen, it pretty much shows what my eyes are showing me, because the way he's been reading the game recently, I can see an improvement. And for me, that improvement is just down to experience, because now he's actually one of the guys that's been at Chelsea for a minute. He played with Rudiger, he played under Tuchel. When he first came in, I remember we did lose for like 26 games, 27 games or something like that.
Yeah, by the way, starting is unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
This season.
Yeah, but the only thing with Chalobah for me that I've always been a little bit skeptical about is he does have a little bit of a bozo moment in him, where it's like he can switch off, or he can, just decide to do something mad, But recently, I can't even lie to you, like for me, he's definitely better than Disasi. That's one thing, right? But even his passing out from the back has improved, because one thing that I said Disasi has over him is his ability on the ball. Because Disasi on the ball, I'll be real with you, as slow as he is, he does play the ball quite well, quite nicely into the midfield. And that's something that I was saying Chalobah hasn't really got in his locker. But recently, I'm seeing this guy punching it into the midfield. Remember that pass that he gave to Madueke as well when we played Everton, right? And Madueke just played it to Jackson, and we ended up scoring. That was from Chalobah just playing the pass. So he's impressed me, man. And Dan, would you, bro? It's a bit peak. Would you want to keep this guy in the summer? Would you move him on for straight prof?
No, I'd keep him. I think the way he's been the last few weeks have kind of shown what Chelsea are sort of losing in Thiago Silva. We might get a little bit of in this guy, which is experience. I think I've just been looking now. I think he's only played 57 Premier League games, but it's kind of given me hope about the other sort of players in the squad, because if we think about Trev when he first came in, he was very similar to a lot of what we've seen in this team this season from most of the other players. Inconsistency, good in spells, scored some good goals, but then had bozo moments. And that comes with learning the Premier League. Trevor's had some time off. He's probably studied it, worked on his game, probably created a better understanding. Coming this season, looks completely different to what he did that first time round, right? I'm kind of backing that the rest of the team sort of do that as well. And because they're like the elite when it comes to themselves in youth football, that they're going to be quick learners. They were ahead of the pack when they were young. Can they learn quickly as well and get straight to the top of the game and maybe take a season? So I'd keep Trev because he offers a lot of experience for me. I know it's clear profit, and I understand how this board look at that. It's almost like, why wouldn't we sell? But yeah, just touching on players that have been exceptional in recent weeks. There's so many, isn't there? That's the beautiful thing of it. We were going, it's Cole Palmer. Gusto's had a good game. Enzo looked good in the first half. That was like the season, wasn't it? Jackson's had a good spell in this one, or Caicedo's been okay. But now, obviously, we're able to sort of sit here and probably list off 5-6 players every game for the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, which is what we've been asking for all season. So, yeah,
I want to speak. Yeah, no, spot on. And I'm glad you mentioned Caicedo as well, because listen, I'll speak about him. Yeah, but before we speak about him, I wanted to Jem to speak about this guy. This just came out actually not long ago. From Matt Law. Nkunku is expected to start next season as Chelsea's first choice number 10. What did you think? What did you think of his performance the other day, bro? What do you think of Nkunku?
This is a
guy that just oozes quality, man.
My feelings on Nkunku. I've even when in the games that we have lost and we've played pretty well or we've drawn, I've always said, look, if you just had Nkunku on the pitch, he would have scored that. And you can see it in him. Even when he was on the pitch, he plays the game a bit like Palmer. They play it at their own speed. If you watch them, the best players all do that for me. They kind of they don't panic. They're just so in control of what they're doing. They know what they're going to do next. They're ahead of their game. And when you watch his performance at Nottingham Forest when he came on, we actually used the left because we never used the left. We always used the right when we attacked majority of this season. But
you mean against Brighton? Do you mean against Brighton?
Was it Brian? Sorry, yeah, Brian. Yeah.
When Mudryk came off at just before half time.
Yeah, that's it, Brian. Yeah, Brian. We're actually using the left more than we was the right, and that was just amazing because he's just so calm, collective, and like the thing for me is when you watch his goal. And by the way, there was 28 passes in that before we actually scored, which was
Crazy.
quite impressive in terms of the way we built up as well. So, once he got to the box, he put Lamptey on the floor, by the way, completely skinned him, because Lamptey looked one way, looked the other, and he was gone, and he just lost because he couldn't basically turn his body to go the other way. And, that's the difference for me with Nkunku. A lot of our players running, and I know Jackson does it a lot as well. A lot of our players like luring and running into the same spaces sometimes. And I'm like, guys, like, so much space there. Why are you all running there? And I've watched it so many times in the season. But Nkunku, he kind of like analyzes where everyone is around him. And if you watch how we attack the box now, you have Jackson and Nkunku that finds whatever space needs to be occupied, he will run into it. And then you have Palmer, who also is now running into the box and trying to get on the back of things. And I think that's why we're being a lot more successful as well, because we're filling the box. And for me, Nkunku, if Nkunku was fit, he'd be equally as important than Palmer for me this season. I actually think Palmer would have a lot more assists and maybe even a couple more goals, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah, man. The way they play, bro, they're just on the same wavelength. That's the key thing for me. Like, you want players to be on the same wavelength as each other. Because if you guys remember in preseason, Jackson and Nkunku were on the same wavelength. Nkunku, I think he scored 3 goals in preseason, and people will tell you, it's only preseason, doesn't matter. Obviously, no one looks at the results and thinks, yeah, we won that game, we're gonna go win the league now. Like, no one thinks that. But for me, I always take something from preseason. I look at the new players, how they can fit in the system that we're trying to build. We've obviously got a new manager. What sort of style is he trying to implement? You can kind of work out the quality of some of these players. You can work out what's going to work for them. But what did you think of Nkunku's performance the other day, Dan?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I think we've seen him come on a few times and he's gone up as like the number 9, and it's not really worked, to be honest with you. He's been isolated. Yeah. I think another thing that's really important to remember is blending someone into a team that's winning and playing well and confident in how they're playing is so much easier. I think he looks exceptional against Brighton. I think everything about him looked like a top international footballer. And I say that because I think you can see the difference. There's a lot of players in our team that haven't been playing regular international football. And we know Nkunku's obviously had a lot of injuries, but he's been with that France squad and he's been playing with top players who are winning tournaments, have elite mentality. And you can just see he's a level above. I think I saw the same with Palmer when he arrived. Even though he's a young kid, he come from Man City's training and you could see he was so sharp. He'd had a good pre-season. He looked electric from the get-go, looked so much sharper than so many of our players. And I think I saw that with Nkunku as well. In small spells, the finish against Liverpool was really good. He came on against Villa in the FA Cup. There was a couple of touches that were just out of this world. And then yesterday, I keep saying yesterday, but against Brighton, I feel like that left wing position kind of allowed him to thrive. Lamptey couldn't track him anywhere because he kept drifting inside. And I think that probably shows.
He just floats, isn't it? The way he just floats on the pitch, bro. Is that
exactly? I think next season, if I was Pochettino, I'd probably be looking at if he could sort of work out some double 10 sort of system with him and Palmer, because I think that's probably where they both would excel. Maybe Nkunku off towards the left a little bit, Palmer off towards the right, because I feel like those two in behind the striker who is of some serious quality could be an unstoppable front three, to be honest with you. I think there'd be assists and goals for absolute fun. Just imagine how many more goals, like Jem said, Palmer could have had and Nkunku could have had this season, because the amount of goals and chances Mudryk has missed, and Nkunku, I'm absolutely sure, by the way, is a lethal finisher. You know that one that he put and he hit it low and hard, it just went past the post?
Yes.
Like, my gosh.
Conviction.
The next one's in. So, yeah, he's lethal. Exactly. I almost don't want to risk starting him against Bournemouth because I just don't want him to be injured for next season. If it's another 20-minute, 30-minute cameo, I could probably live with that just to make sure he's fit for next year, because we should be able to get past Bournemouth, shouldn't we, with or without him playing 90 minutes sort of thing. Yeah,
exactly. And for me, like I've said with Nkunku, I said it in my fan cam the other day, he is our version of Jota. Yeah, for me, he's better than Jota on the ball. He's more talented than Jota in terms of the natural ability. But in terms of the finishing, Jota, Trossard, Nkunku, these players, they put their foot through the ball, and they've just got a natural, they're natural born finishers, and the instinct as well, bro. You know what I mean? Like we've seen multiple times this season where that cutback has been done by Gusto, and no one's there. Everyone's reacting to the ball. They're ball watching. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas in Nkunku, his instincts like, I need to get to that ball, but he delayed that run at first, and then he's making that late run, and even that finish. That was a nice finish, That wasn't an easy finish to make, to make, because I could see Jackson missing that. As much as I can see Jackson scoring, I can also see him missing. But I don't see Nkunku missing in those chances, in those opportunities there. And that's why for me, I keep saying to you lot, yeah, like I can see Osimhen working in this team because the sort of chances that we create weekly, he's gonna be eating. Because Osimhen in the box, yeah, the way Nkunku finds space is the same way Osimhen finds space. I don't think Osimhen's the most clinical. I don't think Osimhen's that great on the ball. I think Tony's better than him on the ball. But I'm just looking at how we play and how we're set up now and how we create chances. It's a lot of cutbacks, a lot of box play. We win a lot of penalties because we're in and around the box a lot. I think it would help Osimhen, man. But before you go, Dan, just a quick question for you, bro. What do you think of Olise? Do you think we should bring him in? Because a lot of people are speaking about him in the chat. And big up the chat as well. There's 140 people watching now. Like I said, make sure you're smashing up the likes, people. Dan's got a shoot in a sec. Make sure that you're subscribing to his channel. But before you go, bro, what do you think of Nkunku? These Nkunku, sorry. These Olise links. Would you bring him in?
Yes, I'd bring him in purely on his ability. I think he offers more than what Madueke does. I've said it before that I think Madueke would be a good fit for Palace, so maybe we could work out a swap deal. My biggest worry with Olise, and I think a lot of us would probably have it, is his injuries. He needs to be managed in the correct way, and I think we've struggled to do that with so many players this season. I doubt if Chelsea are able to maintain his fitness because Palace haven't been able to as well. Let's not lie. We've all seen the ability this kid has when he's playing. He's absolutely exceptional. So if I knew that he was going to be able to stay fit, it's a no-brainer for me. But even with the risk for 10, 20 games a season, potentially to have that ability in your side, I think it's probably worth it compared to what we've got. The only issue is, obviously, if we go and sign Estavio Willian or whatever his name is as well, where's he going to play? Does it start getting a little bit complicated? I think we've got Angelo out at Strasbourg as well, who I know you keep a close eye on. We've got Amari doing bits for Ipswich as well. All of a sudden, we're stacking up a little bit on that right-hand side. For me, if Nkunku's going to play as a 10, I'd probably favour looking at someone to come in off the left, unless it's going to be Jackson. But I think a player of Olise's quality with better durability on the left would be someone I'd probably look for more so. But look, I'm not going to take anything away from Olise's ability. That kid is exceptional, and without injuries, I'm sure we're all aware he'll go to the top of the game.
Listen, for me, that right hand side is stacking up. You know, it's we are stockpiling in a way. But what I've said to people is, listen, this is football. Unfortunately, at times, you know, not everyone's going to make it. And if we can make a profit on some of these guys, as much as I like Angelo, as much as Hutchinson looks good, if we can make profit on these guys, unfortunately, so be it. You know, as long as we've got the quality there in the first team, like Olise, you know, the Payers, Estaval, these guys look like they're going to be world beaters. But again, they're only 17, 18. You know, by the time they land next in 2025, they'll only be 18. Like, they're not going to be starting straight away. They're going to be bedded in. You know, Vinicius wasn't starting straight away. These guys have got to grow into their body as well. If you look at Estaval, Payers,
well, by the way,
Payers, big baller. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's that right hand side. So we got to see in it. We got to see what happens there, man. But Dan, listen, love for your time, my bro. Let them know where they can find you, my bro, man.
Yeah, just check out my channel. It's at BDB Dan on all the socials. So cheers for liking the video, guys. Make sure to get this up to there's 100 of us in here. Let's try and get 100 likes. Why not? Smash it up, boys.
Smash the likes, man. But listen, we'll definitely get Dan back on. There's a few things I've got planned for, obviously, when the season's done. But appreciate your time, bro.
Yep.
Have a good day, man.
Boys. All right, sweet.
Love. But Jem, man, I wanted to speak about someone else. This is the guy, that I want to speak about right now. I want to speak about man like Cisco, big Caicedo, because all season, man like Cisco, you know what I mean? Look at that, that's Cisco right there, man. All season, I've had guys like Monts, all of these guys, you know, every time you log into Twitter, even if he has a good game, oh, Caicedo, biggest flop. I'm still seeing now Goal, you know that website Goal, They're saying that he's been one of the biggest flops this season. And I'm like, bro, what have you been watching? What have you been watching? Because without Caicedo, people think Gallagher's been our best midfielder, but for me, it's actually been Caicedo, because without him, we are in big problems, because Gallagher, this guy will press, and then he'll they'll pop it around him, and now he's leaving Enzo and Caicedo by themselves, and you see Caicedo fighting for his life, and he's having to, make these challenges. But as you can see at the minute, bro, he has now registered more final third passes than McAllister, than Odegaard, than Paqueta, than Palmer, Kovacic, Szoboszlai. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I said from the beginning when we got this guy, I think his best position would be playing as an 8. Because if Lavia was fit, I reckon Lavia plays as a 6. And then you have Caicedo playing in a box-to-box role, And he's spoken about how Kante is his idol. His manager that managed him in Ecuador spoke about how they played him as an 8. And listen, when he's been played more advanced a little bit now with Cucurella and Vertin, you're seeing a different player. You're seeing a lot more like a confident player, more assured Caicedo. But what have you thought about him, man, in the past few games? And what have you thought of his season overall as well?
I don't think Caicedo's been overall that poor this season anyway. I just think he's had individual moments that have been very poor, which we know about. You know, he's fell asleep, and you can tell he beats him up. He was beating himself up about it. Even with the one where he made the pass across to Badiashile and they run on and score. Who was that? Was that Man United? I think he done that against. And you know, like you can see it. You can see like he knows.
Yeah. That was against. Sorry, that was the other day, man. That was no. What you mean? The pass that he played to Reece James. That was against Forest.
No. Badiashile, where he done that bad pass and they scored from it. That was Man United.
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah.
You know, like it's like there more like bozo moments, and I get that. But then I keep saying, and I always talk about again, and I go back to the system and how Poch plays. We are so much from that midfield. You don't realise how much they have to get across and do in the pitch. And it's a lot, and especially for someone like Caicedo. And I agree with you. You take him away from the team, I think we'll be in even worse a place than we are now. I think he brings a lot of quality. I think he's a sureness on the ball. He's had more blocks, I think, than most players this season in the league as well, like defensive blocks as well, which is quite a good stat to have. He's getting around the pitch, his energy, you know, he's linking up. And this is why I agree with you. The 8 role for him is perfect, because imagine him and Enzo in an 8 role. We know Enzo can do it anyway, but having Caicedo being able to just do them 1-2s, them little balls over the top, what we've seen to Reece James when we scored and he whipped it into Jackson. Like, he does it a lot. Even like in the game against Brighton, he was picking the ball up and he was just pinging it over the top for an Nkunku to run onto and stuff like that. Like, he has the ability not only to do short passes, but long passes as well, long distance passes. And he doesn't really, like, he does make stupid tackles. There's sometimes where I'm like, why'd you do that, Caicedo? Like, you've just given a free kick in a bad area. You know, we're crap from.
Can be a little bit rash at times. Yeah, like Gallagher.
Yeah, you can be rash. But like, I again think that's because we don't have enough protection in and around that position, like defensively for people. Like when you look at, once you pass Caicedo, there's no one else. And it was even against the last round. Like, as soon as you get past him and you look in the middle, it's just your defense line and there's just a massive gap. And that really worries me. And I think to myself, like, if Lavia's there, he's in that position. Do you know what I mean? He fills that gap, hopefully, if Poch utilizes him properly. That's the next thing what we've got to bear in mind as well.
And
like,
there's this myth, like, you know, I had Mons telling me, like, oh yeah, you know, if you play a 4-3-3, where's your creativity gonna come from if you're playing Caicedo and Enzo as 2 8s? And I said, bro, Caicedo on the ball, his passing range is actually quite good. It's very underrated. Yeah, and he's actually got a good shot on him as well. Remember that goal he scored against Spurs that got disallowed? Yeah. He scored a similar sort of goal against Brighton. But the only problem is you don't really see Caicedo occupying those areas as much as others, right? Unless he's given the freedom to do so, you know. And then obviously Enzo on the ball, like I've said, we've seen this guy creating a lot of chances on the ball. He looks at the pass and he just plays it. And similar sort of thing as Caicedo as well. Like, he'll see the pass and he'll play it. You can't work in a system like Brighton where your passing needs to be spot on. And then people were saying, oh, what's he going to do in the final third? Bro, in the final third, that guy's dangerous. I've seen him make a lot of, you know, the pass before the pass where we've scored goals this season. Remember against Leicester where he played that ball to the person that played it. Yeah, he played it to Madueke and then he played it. No, actually, no. To Jackson. I remember that goal when he played it to someone else and then it went to Jackson and Jackson scored against Leicester.
Yeah, Madueke. It was Madueke, yeah.
Madueke, yes. Yeah. Those are the sort of things that Caicedo does in and around the box, man. But listen, to finish off, bro, just a quick preview. Obviously, we've got Bournemouth at the weekend. You know, last game of the season. There's a few scenarios here, man. Chelsea could obviously finish 5th if we win our game and Spurs lose against Sheffield, which for me is not going to happen, man. You're talking about a team that's conceded more than 100 goals. You know what I'm saying? But then obviously United as well, like, they're going to finish behind us regardless. Regardless of what happens, right? At the minute. But what do we need to do on Sunday to beat Bournemouth? Because we need to make sure that Thiago Silva leaves in a good light, man. Anthony Taylor's reffing the game, which is mad. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think we need to do to go and beat Bournemouth on Sunday?
Letting that bald fraud have as many chances to get involved in the game. And that means, like, controlling the game, having most of the possession, creating. I think we just got to play how we have been playing, to be quite honest with you. I like Bournemouth. I think the one thing Bournemouth will do is they won't sit back. I think they'll press. I think they'll try and win the ball high. They'll try and, they'll try and like cause us problems that way. But I think equally that could work against them, going pressing so high against us. Because once you've seen it, and I've watched Bournemouth like play a couple of times, like as soon as you beat the press, they're just open at the back. Like they're just there for pickings, in my opinion. Like, and as much as like I feel like this new manager's done very well, I think we just need to be very assured, very confident, play our game, 1-2s, right positions, like no bozo Gene moments where we control balls and make the wrong passes or something like that. We just need to play our football and we win the game. That is it, in my opinion. I think Nkunku will start off the left, in my opinion, as well. You have Palmer, you have Jackson, you probably have Madueke playing on the right. There's enough offensive attacking style there. It's just about playing how we have done, finishing it off in style, and I think we'll win. Yeah.
And Shivendra asked here as well. Big up Shivendra. Thoughts on Thiago Silva's final game, Don? Similar as Gem, man. We need to just carry on right now. I don't even want to overanalyze the game, because end of the day, what Poch has done has been simplified. So, we just need to carry on playing like this. It's going to be nice seeing Nkunku starting. It's nice now only seeing like 5 people injured at any one time. Mudrik's actually going to be out for the game. I think he's got a concussion. Poch probably just told him, just see out the season now, man. Just go, just go visit home or something. Do you know what I mean? So he's going to be out for the game. But I like what's been going on with Sterling coming off the bench, because for me, Sterling starting now is he can't be starting games. He hasn't been good enough to start games. But off the bench against tired legs, look what he did against Forest, man. He scored a good goal. So I don't mind him coming off the bench. And if he does stay next season somehow, because he doesn't want to move on these big wages, off the bench, I don't mind. I don't mind it as much. It's only when we're dependent on him that's when it's a big problem, But if we've got someone else there who's better than him starting and he comes off the bench, no problems whatsoever, man. No problems whatsoever. But what do you reckon? What do you reckon for what do you call it? Who are you looking at right in Bournemouth's team that you think can cause us problems, Jim? Because there's always that one player in these teams.
I think Solanke's made to look very good under this new manager, and if you create enough for him, I think he'll score goals. That can be a worry for us. I like the left back that you were talking about as well. Yeah, he's up and down the pitch. He can give us problems, I think, with his energy as well if we don't deal with him as well. I just think they play quite well as a team now. If you watch them, like this is very 1-2 move, pass, run. Like what we've been asking, like system, have a structure, have like this way of playing, and that's why him to go in there and turn it around in such a short space of time. Yeah, Kirkes, that's it.
This is my guy, bro. I remember I told you lot from early doors. I said, yo, will you mind watch out for Kirkes, yeah? That first game I watched of him, first game of the season, can't remember who they played, but I said, yo, this guy looks good, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep an eye out for him. I was calling him Milos. Yeah, his name's Milos Kirkes.
He seems to have like a freedom role when I watch him now. It's like he doesn't seem to like. He's meant to get forward a lot, but like he gets back, but he doesn't like. If you get what I mean, sometimes he finds himself in midfield in some games, and he's like left back, then he's left wing and etc. Yeah, I mean Justin Kluivert can be dangerous, but I don't worry. I mean, he plays off the right, doesn't he? So I expect like Kukurea to deal with that.
He plays off the left, don't he?
Is he not on the right?
No, I think he plays off the left, bro. I'm pretty sure he plays off the left.
Oh, well, left or right doesn't matter because I think Gusto will start. So whoever's up against him should be dealing with him. But for me, it's just stop the creating for Solanke. That's it. Stop the creating for Solanke.
I can't lie, bro. Listen, I reckon Solanke's gonna bag, man. This season has been about fucking ex-players scoring against us. That's what it's been about, innit? So I can see Solanke scoring. Hopefully we can keep a clean sheet. Obviously, like I said, Thiago Silva's last game. So yeah, hopefully we can keep that clean sheet. But yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting to see Nkunku starting off the left, because usually this season when we've been starting him up front as a lone striker, because there just hasn't been any cohesion in that midfield with a Gallagher. Gallagher don't connect anything. You know what I mean? But yeah, just on Gallagher as well. Like there's a few things that are coming out today that it still hasn't been. He still hasn't been offered a contract. I think Aston Villa now are in the mix for it as well.
We're going to be analysing that.
What do you think about that? Just to round off on that, man. What do you think of?
I haven't gone through the article yet. I've got the article ready to go when we obviously come off here to go through it properly, and then obviously we'll analyse it. But basically, it seems like Chelsea are going to be selling Gallagher. Like I actually think Gallagher should be at Chelsea, but off the bench. Like I actually think he reminds me of James Milner. I keep saying it. He's like that kind of player that's like. He's not a master of all trades, but he's just like he's good to just come off a half hour, 40 minutes, get running around, People say, yeah, Enzo should be holding bench. I've seen it in the chat, but no, he shouldn't be. Like, I don't get why we keep saying this. Enzo's not going to be holding bench, guys. Don't get me wrong. Like, Gallagher,
not, man. Vision, big up vision, man. You've got serious vision, bro, because it says it right here. Our midfield structure is better. If Enzo was playing in this new tactic instead of Gallagher, would probably look even better.
I agree, because you'd have another creative. So people go, yeah, but he doesn't work as RBA. But if you watch the last game round in the second half, I keep telling people this, right? The gaps in midfield are still there with Gallagher and Caicedo anyway. Gallagher's so far up the pitch, he's pretty much a 10 when we're on the ball, that when we lose the ball, he's so out of position. It's ridiculous. Like it's not changed, is what I'm saying.
He's committed the most fouls as well. You know that, Jim. You know he's committed the most fouls, right?
Yeah.
In the league.
Yeah. It don't surprise me. And this is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, Enzo hasn't looked great. We know he's been injured, and I do think that you have to take that into consideration, because the Enzo we saw first half of the season was something else. Yeah, he might have been played a little bit deeper, but he was getting around a lot easier. Like, and I feel Enzo's done well parts of this season. You can just see, like, even the Arsenal game, he weren't fit, man. He threw him out there, and he shouldn't have been there, you know. And like, I'm looking forward to seeing Enzo getting back in the team next season. Enzo can't run.
Yeah,
this is the other thing. Stop, guys. He's not Jorginho. Like, stop comparing him to Jorginho.
The guy's trolling, bro. You're talking about a South American here, man. Enzo can run. Enzo can run, bro. I've seen this guy, bro. Go watch back all the Man City games that when we played Man City this season, yeah. Especially the Etihad. That guy was getting stuck in, bro, defensively. Yeah, people think Enzo can't defend. He can, but when you've got him in an island with all this space, then you're gonna see the weaknesses shown, because he's not a Paulinho. He's not a Declan Rice. Even Jorginho in the transition as well wasn't good. You know what I mean? Like, if you leave him by himself, and that's the same sort of thing as Enzo. You know, different players bring different dynamics to the team. And honestly, when he comes back into the team, a fit Enzo Fernandez in a proper structure is gonna be mad. It's gonna be mad, bro. The ways he's just gonna be finding Nkunku on that left hand side, you know, finding players making those runs in behind, because he just plays it like Fabregas. The way he just plays that pass.
Nkunku's gonna love it. He's gonna have Palmer, who we know has got the vision anyway. Enzo coming in and having the vision, like it's just gonna add so much more to how we've been playing right now. And I'm so annoyed that Enzo's actually not around. I've just seen him in this like period.
Yeah.
Like, it really
even had CB saying life without Enzo, I just cooked this guy. I cooked him, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I said, look, bro, the last time we played Brighton, he scored 2 goals against them. You know, you didn't want to speak about that, because apparently now we're winning all these games because of Enzo. But last time we played Brighton, you know, this guy was our best player that day. You know what I'm saying? But listen, we've still got 129 people in the house. Big up, man. Big up, people. You know, smash up the likes, like I said, and make sure that you're subscribing to the channel. We're now going to go into Chelsea Fan TV, actually. Going to do a quick preview, like proper preview breakdown of the game against Bournemouth, and just, you know, catch up on the recent news. But I wanted to obviously speak about Poch, because a lot of people have been asking me, like, what do you think of Poch? Because they know I've been quite vocal about this guy, and obviously I wanted him gone. And for now, like I said, I'll still bring someone else in. But if he stays, so be it, innit? But Jem, like I said, love for coming on, my bro. Let them know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, GNA TV, Chelsea Fan TV. We've got a live preview, which we're going to be doing in the next 5-10 minutes, guys. So get yourself over there. We're going to be going through some the articles from Matt Law on Gallagher. There's some news on Esteval as well that we're going to go through as well. And we're going to go through, obviously, the match preview and stuff. There's quite a bit. And there's also comments from Daniel Finkenstein as well, which we're going to be highlighting in regards to the actual project as well, which he's come out with recently as well. So you go and just give us a follow on here. Big up to Don as well. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been good, man. I've enjoyed it. And you coming over there, or what you doing? Are you coming in?
Yeah, I'm coming over, man. I'm coming over. Let me just go quickly get some breakfast. I'll let you chop it up for a bit, then I'll jump back on.
Jump on.
It's been a heavy one, bro. Yeah, but I'll be listening and I'll jump back on, innit? Make sure that you go into GNA TV, subscribe. Go into Chelsea Fan TV, like I said, subscribe. I'll be on there. Jem usually does his little monologue for like the first 15 minutes by himself, and then obviously I'll jump in. But listen, like I said, people, love for the support, man, because like I said, I touched 1,000 subscribers. You know, I kept procrastinating the YouTube. People kept saying make it. You know, I wish I made it a little bit earlier on in the season. But it's been good. It's been good chopping it up, and like I said, I really like interacting with you guys, man. So just make sure that you
being on the other side. Feels good being on the other side. It feels good to be on the other side for once, you know. I'm always
exactly. Well, like I said, big up people and up the Chelsea, man. Let's go.
See you later, mate.